Hello, everybody, and welcome to another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit. I'm the Bishop of the Burn, Nick, and with me, as always,
Gator.
And this is our first sermon of 2020.
A to the men.
Indeed. Nothing happened over the new year that caused the world to explode or anything like that.
That's true. No 2020, computer debacle or anything.
Not yet, anyway.
Yeah.
So tonight, we are going to be smoking a cigar that comes...
Imagine that.
Very high, I know, right? Very highly rated by our friends over at Cigar Talk, specifically Rob Jones.
Go Rob.
Rob talks about this cigar quite frequently, and I figured it was high time to go ahead and give it a smoke on the pulpit. So we are going to be smoking the Migdalia by Micallef Cigars. We're actually going to be smoking the Toro. Now, Rob prefers the Corona Extra, which is a 6x46. However, we're going to be smoking the Toro, which is a 6x52. And it is made up of a Mexican Habano wrapper, a Sumatra binder, and a filler made up of tobacco from the Dominican Republic and Nicaragua.
It looks like a lovely stick.
Rob just geeks on this cigar.
Okay, Rob, if this thing sucks, I'm blaming you, brother.
He just geeks on this cigar. Like, constantly. I don't think I've heard an episode of Cigar Talk in the last maybe at least 3 months, maybe longer, where the word Migdalia doesn't come in to the episode at least once. So it's
my God, it's high time we try.
It's high time we give this thing a shot. So
speaking of high time, pot's legal in Illinois now.
Pot is legal in Illinois.
We'll get into that in a minute.
I was say we'll get into that, but first we'll go ahead and cut the cigar.
Look at this.
Oh my God, Jeff has a cutter. Listener Bjorn, I have eyes on the cutter. I have proof of life.
Proof of life.
Your cutter is still in his hands and found. And you know what? I think Jeff is maturing over the new year.
Why would you say that?
Because you just took the cellophane off your wrapper and you didn't put it up to your microphone and spend 30 seconds crinkling it like you normally do.
Still got time.
No, you've already taken it off. The moment's done.
The moment is gone. Now, I do have a lighter. It's not working.
What are you getting on the cold draw there?
Let me give it a shot.
I'm getting kind of a wood oat taste. Oatmeal.
I'm getting cigar.
All right. Well, some things change, some things don't. So
mature my ass.
I mean, kind of. Like I said, you forgot is what happened.
No. I was rattling this one a while ago. I waited for an hour and a half for you to start the podcast. We've been sitting at the Hill Cigar Company. Beautiful downtown St. Louis.
We've been enjoying the day, having other cigars, sitting and talking with some of the patrons, having a good time, and Jeff has been very impatient.
Time is money, brother. Time is money.
What have you got going today?
0.
Precisely.
I got oysters to go home and shuck.
Oh, my God.
Although the cast comes out on Friday.
Yes.
We're actually recording this on New Year's Day.
Mm-hmm.
First cast of the year. And I have oysters sitting at home that I got last night. We had too much food. So I'm going to shuck those things up. Hit them with some lemon juice, a little hot sauce, and some horseradish, and go to town.
Nothing like dressing up snot.
Oh, dude. They're so good.
I can't. It's just foul. I'm not a seafood guy just in general. But
he likes his fish in planks.
I like my fish to be breaded and fried, thank you.
Yes. I, on the other hand, love seafood. Love, love, love. And I made a little trip to Whole Foods, or as a lot of people call it, Whole Paycheck.
It's expensive.
And picked myself up some oysters. Now, they have them on sale right now for $1 a pop. So I got a dozen oysters. And they were kind enough to hook me up. They charged me for 10 because the guy said the last 2 were small, and he was going to put those... He was giving me those on himself there, and I didn't have to pay for them. So
you got a dozen, but you only paid for 10.
I got a dozen. I paid for 10.
Well, by God, look at you.
A deal to start out the year.
I mean, can't beat that.
Nope, not at all. It was very, very nice of them. I can't recommend the seafood department there enough. Oh, I'm lighting up my stick here. Sucker doesn't want to light. There we go. Ooh, get a lot on the retro hell.
Oh, yeah? What are you getting?
A cigar.
God.
It's going to be a theme tonight.
I would hope not. I would hope you'd have some slightly better insight than just that.
What are you getting, brother?
Well,
I'm looking to the bishop for guidance.
You're looking at me, so you can say, "Oh yeah, I get that too."
I eat a lot. Sometimes I don't.
So I kind of got an oatmeal taste on the
I'm
cold
getting
draw.
toasted bread, oddly enough.
Okay, then.
It's like a breakfast theme.
There's a little bit of the leathery kind of taste going on,
Mm-hmm.
and like a nuttiness.
If I'm getting nutty.
That might be that bread.
Might be, yeah, you might be
Might
right.
be that bread.
Yeah.
Oh,
So what'd you do for New Year's?
nothing.
That's the best way, brother. That's the
And
best way.
I enjoyed it. Took the kiddo over to the Lady of Snows in Belleville. They for the Way of Lights. For those of you who don't know, we have a Catholic. I don't know what to call it, like facility location.
Is it a convent? I don't think it's an
I
actual
don't think it's an
convent.
actual convent.
The convent's in Ruma, Illinois.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like it's the shrine to Our Lady of the Snows, and every year at Christmas time they do a thing called the Way of Lights, and so they put up thousands of Christmas lights.
Live nativity.
And you drive through, and it tells the story of the nativity and all that. But yeah, they have like a petting, zoo and everything. So we were able to get out of the car and take the little guy over, and he got to feed some goats and some cows and see
Cool.
see the horses and the camels. They were doing camel rides. He wanted none of that, but it was fun. So
Well, there you go.
we did that, and then had our New Year's Eve dinner at the Chinese buffet because my son really enjoys the Chinese buffet.
Who doesn't?
He specifically likes the sautéed green beans and the broccoli.
Well,
My
there you go.
3-year-old ate, I swear to God, I'm not lying, 2 plates of green beans and broccoli last night.
Good stuff.
Didn't want anything to do with the little sugar biscuit. You know those little sugar, the sugar donuts that they got? Yeah. Didn't want anything to do with that. Just wanted the green beans and broccoli.
We used to make those when I was a teenager and we'd go camping out. We'd take the, like the thing of biscuits that you have to hit on the table and bust open. And we would take those and we'd bring some oil with us. And in like our mess kit, we'd take the little metal cup thing and put it into the fire and heat up the oil, and we would make biscuits out camping.
Well, there you go.
It was, they were just horrendous, but, at
It was something.
10 o'clock at night on a camp out, they tasted pretty damn good.
Well, anyway.
Have I ever talked about the Spam?
Yes. How
Okay.
you put it in the fire. And
Okay,
it
yeah, I
exploded.
won't hit that
no.
again.
You-
We'll
you-
have to take this out. Leave a little gap there so you remember.
I'm not taking anything out. I'm just going to let people know that
I'm going
you
to talk about Spam again.
lost your mind
I
and
love Spam.
forgot. So
I can't remember what we talk about on the show and off the show. It's just all a giant blur.
you told Jenn that story because we brought up Spam the first time she was on.
All right.
Yeah. That's when Spam came up.
She was talking about Hawaii.
Yeah.
Yep, that is correct.
Anyway.
So, I do have a story to tell you.
Oh, boy.
I was sitting in the backyard today, and I was having my first stick of the year, and I was all relaxed. And
Which was, by the way?
I put a picture of it up.
Well,
Did you see that on Instagram?
Naked Gator.
That's right.
I'll have to go by the Instagram here real quick, so we can tell people what your first stick of the year was.
It was a good one.
Mine was a brick house.
I saw that.
Yep, I had a brick house. So you had
Chupacabra, buddy.
an Esteban Carrera.
Chupacabra.
Well, look at you. That's fanciful.
Yeah.
Yep, folks, if you go over to Naked Gator, Nekkid Gator on Instagram,
That's me.
you can follow Jeff and all that. So find out what he's smoking.
Yeah, because Nick won't put any of my sticks up on the cigar pulpit.
Every once in a while I did.
Now and again. Now and again.
Now and again.
He just doesn't like my cigars. My cigars of choice. That's a good stick, by the way.
That
brother.
was a good stick for you.
That is a good stick.
I mean, you're starting off the new year right.
Mm-hmm.
So
Although I did, here at the Hill, I did grab a bunch of quorums.
I would say you do
My
have
road
your,
sticks.
your bundle of quorums over there. What is that, 20 of them?
You know what? I believe that is accurate, yes.
Okay.
Little Toros.
Well, there you go. So you were telling a story. You were sitting
in
out
the
back.
backyard and I'm relaxed. And it reminded me of a story. Because I'm an organic gardener, which I've talked about on the podcast quite a bit. And I was working on my beds one day. This is maybe, oh Lord, this has probably been 4 or 5 years ago. And I'm out in the backyard and I'm just relaxed and I'm all by myself and I'm working on the raised beds and I'm, getting them ready to plant. It wasn't quite now. It may have been a little closer to like February. Because I always plant my lettuce usually around Valentine's Day. Sometimes I even sneak it out a couple of weeks before, and then I'll low tunnel it, and it's a whole thing. So I'm out in the yard, and I'm prepping these beds, adding some compost and whatnot to them. And somebody says hello to me. Scares the living hell out of me. Because I'm by myself. No one's around. None of the neighbors are home. And I turn around just in time to see this giant bird fly over my head and land in the tree.
Okay.
So the funny thing about this giant bird, and it was all colorful and pretty, like it was like a tropical bird.
Yeah.
And it's like February or March. I mean, it's really cold.
Okay.
And I look at this bird for a minute, and I realize that bird fucking talked to me. That was the bird that said hello. And I'm thinking, normally the sparrows and robins and cardinals that frequent the yard,
They tend to not say
they
hello.
tend to not talk. And I thought, well, that's odd. And then it reminded me of the fact that there was a missing tropical bird in Waterloo, Illinois. It'd been all over Facebook. The Republic Times, the newspaper there, shout out to Kermit Constantine, had been promoting this, look for this bird, help us find this bird. These people had been missing this bird. And I'm sitting here staring at this bird in the tree in my backyard. And I'm like, what the hell do I do? How do I catch this bird? Because it's like 20 feet up in the air in the tree.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm just standing there looking at it. So I get on the phone, I call Kristen. And I said, Kristen, that goddamn bird is in our backyard. She's like, no, it's not. And I'm like, yeah, it's staring at me right now. I'm looking at the bird in the eye. And I said, what the hell are we going to do? So she gets the number for me, and I panic and call. I'm playing with the cutter, and it's driving Nick nuts.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys can hear that. So I get the number, and I try calling these people, and they don't answer. And I'm like, damn it. So I sit there, and I'm talking to the bird. Like, I don't know why. I don't know what else to do to make sure.
Decided to have a conversation with
I'm
the
carrying
bird.
on a conversation. It's not talking back at this point. So I'm talking to the bird, and it stays there. And I'm thinking, okay. So I stand in the backyard for a good 25, 30 minutes staring at this bird in the tree. I'm like, well, do I shoot it and then give it to him and say, here, I found your bird? I'm like, what do I do with this bird?
Yeah.
So eventually the people call back. And I'm like, I've got your bird. It's in the backyard. It's in the tree. And they're like, where do you live? So I tell them. And it takes them about 15, 20 minutes to get there. Well, by now, Kristen, I think, even took off work early and came home because she couldn't believe the bird was in the yard. Comes in, and we're standing in the backyard, her and I, and we're staring at this bird in the tree. And she's like, yeah, that's the bird. I saw a picture of it. I'm like, well, hell. So the people come over, and it takes them probably a good 45 minutes holding up feed and its toys and all. They have all this plethora of things. Mm-hmm. And they coax the bird down out of the tree, and the day is saved.
You saved a bird.
I saved a bird. I mean, that bird would have died because it was cold out. Like, this was a tropical bird, and how it had made it through the 2 or 3 days it was missing, I'll never know. Because it was, like, freezing cold at night. This bird should have been dead.
Interesting.
And by God, I saved the bird. So that's my bird story.
All right.
I don't even know what kind of bird it is. It was somewhere in between, like, a cockatiel, like a little thing, and a parrot. It was like a mid-range bird. But, it was big. It was abnormal, to be out in the backyard, obviously, and especially talking. But when that thing said hi to me, actually, hello. I couldn't have been more freaked out. Because there was nobody around, and, I thought the voices had started talking again. It was a whole thing.
Start calling you Doolittle.
Yes. Gator Doolittle.
Oh, my. Well, okay.
So there you go. So that's my bird story. But I was sitting in the backyard today just reminiscing about that. Ruminating, as it were.
Ruminating.
Yes.
Well, there you go.
Have you ever saved any birds?
I have not saved any birds.
Oh, well, no comparable story then from the
No.
bishop.
No.
Yeah.
No comparable story from me.
But that was, I don't do a lot good in life. You know me. And that was...
I do. It's true.
That
You
was
don't
a
do a
karma
lot
point.
good in life.
That was a karma point. So,
Oh, my God.
yeah, I'm normally trying to bend over politicians.
Okay.
Well, how many times have you seen that happen? Not literally.
I was going to say, I'm like, I don't watch when you bend people over because that's awkward.
Except for that time at Giant City.
Nope. That didn't happen. You lie. You lie.
Oh, my God.
Anyway. Oh, my gosh.
Nick got attacked by a spider. He wanted to cuddle. It was a whole thing.
We went over this, and it was all a lie. But anyway.
It's not all a lie.
There's a lot
Just the
of
cuddling part,
exaggeration. I just have you on tape saying that you lied about that.
It wasn't all a lie.
Yes.
Just the
that is
cuddling.
redemption. That clip is going to be saved by me forever. I'm going to put it on my phone, and every time you bring up that stupid-ass story, I'm going to bring it out and be like, here's Jeff saying that it was a lie.
He's going to make it his ringtone when I call him. It's a new year. I'm turning over a new leaf.
There you go. So, no, today I slept in this morning. I went and had lunch, and I pretty much came over to the hill and just started working on the website and doing some stuff that way.
That website's looking nice, by the way. You're doing a good job with that.
It's pretty much going at this point. There's one post on it, but
that's a skill I don't possess and wish I did. I don't know how to.
Oh, WordPress makes it so easy.
I guess I don't know.
I don't know anything
about
coding or HTML or anything like that. But WordPress, it all makes it so easy. You find the theme you like and just kind of go from there. I mean, I could make it fancier. It's a very basic utilitarian website. I mean,
that's all we need. We need a blog.
Precisely. I mean, I don't know how to make things really fancy, but I don't know what all I'd even put up if I were to do anything fancier,
Yeah.
So I'm kind of okay with it. But no,
well, I genuinely think it looks nice. So.
You guys will have to go check out cigarpulpit.com when you're there. Sign up for our email newsletter, and definitely go and check out the biographies on the Meet the Crew page, because
Nick was in charge of those.
I'm really proud of the ones that I did for both Jeff and Jenn. So
okay, then I haven't seen Jenn's yet.
It's equally as good as yours.
You can definitely tell Nick was in charge of it because he wrote his straight, and then ours are colorful.
But see, that's kind of the nature of the show.
There's a lot of truth to that.
And it's one of those things. In any good comedy act, you have to have the clown and the straight guy.
Yep. I don't know if we'd call you the straight guy.
Compared to you?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, wait. Was that I get what that was. That was another crack. Son of a bitch. Anyway. So what are you getting on your cigar there?
This is a very, very good cigar. It's putting off a lot of smoke, a lot of flavor.
There's a lot going on with it.
Yeah, there really is. Cigar Talk was not talking out their ass.
I'm still getting the slight leather, the nuttiness, which, toasted bread nuttiness, that kind of thing, whatever you want to go with. Some spice, a little bit, just a very small little bit of pepper.
Let me do another retro hail now that I'm into this thing a little bit. Well, there's a lot of flavor there. You should try one.
Every time I try one, I cough.
Come on, buck up, little camper. And there it is.
Ooh.
Yeah, that really brings it out, doesn't it?
There's a lot going on there.
Yes.
I definitely pick up more pepper on the retro hail.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chocolate?
Mm-hmm. I can see that.
Just a little
like a
bit,
cocoa.
Little bit of chocolate.
Yep, I can see that.
Yeah. Now I don't know why Rob prefers the 6x46 versus the Toro. I guess he just likes the smaller, ring gauge.
Yeah.
I tend to go more with the larger ring gauge, but it's all
but this
personal
one's
preference.
This one works for me too.
Well, this is definitely more of a your cigar size.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is I think 52, which is on the smaller end of my scale.
Is it 52?
But yeah.
Let me see. You are correct. 6x52.
Of course, I'm correct. Wow, I named
True
it.
colors are showing in the new year.
Off.
I'm impressed.
But no,
it's got good structure to it. It's got a good even burn line going.
It is.
I'm stacking dimes right now.
It's a good stick, actually. Which probably brings me to another point we can talk about. So Micallef actually has an interesting program. You can go onto their website and you can sign up to be a Micallef brand ambassador. Okay?
Interesting.
And what that is...
What's that pay?
Nothing. But
not unlike what I do for a living.
Well, I guess I can't say nothing. It's not paying like cash, but you
other dividends.
Exactly. And so you get access to like I think an exclusive, social media group or whatever on Facebook, and so they go on and talk to the ambassadors about their brand and stuff, and there's little benefits to it and everything. But the coolest thing is
Nick has a trinket.
When you sign up, you get your own ambassador challenge coin. Now, my ambassador number is $39.10. So I'm very low in comparison to Rob and Bryant because they're like what 100. I know Falconer's 165.
Falconer.
I can't remember Rob's number. It's 200 and something. I know he always gets crap because his number is higher than Bryant's. But
Can't we all just be happy that we got a coin?
But I'm at 39.10. So, when I told Rob that, he was like, I didn't even know they went that high. But anyway,
Yeah.
But check out that challenge coin there, buddy.
That's good stuff.
That's a pretty neat little trinket.
Yeah, that's really nice, actually. You'll have to put a picture of that up on the socials.
Mm-hmm. But people, go and sign up. Go and sign up.
It's pretty cool.
Get your own little challenge coin. Become a brand ambassador. Tell your local cigar shop, hey, Micallef cigars are really good. And if you don't carry it, maybe you ought to look into it. And if you do carry it, hey, thanks for carrying it.
Amen.
I know the Hill Cigar Company has a nice little selection of Micallef.
That's where we picked ours
medallias.
out tonight.
We are sitting out front of the world famous St. Louis landmark Hill Cigar Company, where we purchased these medallias. Sitting out front, enjoying the nice little room with the heater.
Much less traffic on the first tier.
It has been pretty slow today, which has been kind of nice.
I will say the lounge in back is still hopping.
It is.
I saw our buddy Tony back there and some others.
I'll tell
Fran's
you.
here.
Well, now I'll tell you, I missed somebody.
Uh-oh.
There's one of our listeners. He goes by Husky773 on Instagram, and his name is Chris.
We missed Husky?
Chris posted a picture of the Hill Cigar Company 3 hours ago on his Instagram saying that he was visiting the place, hung out for a little while, and he said he was glad he paid a visit, but unfortunately, I guess we missed each other. I didn't know that he was here. He didn't know I was here. I saw his picture on Instagram, sent him a message, and he'd already left by the time.
So, Chris, we're giving you a shout-out there, buddy.
So we're giving Husky773 a shout-out. Sorry we missed you. We'll catch you next time you're in St. Louis.
You know what we haven't done in a long time, and I think we've been remiss, is the mailbag.
We haven't gotten a lot of messages.
Guys, step up. We need some messages.
We get comments, people liking stuff that we do and everything like that, but we don't really get like direct letters,
getting
direct messages.
A ton of interaction with my new Instagram account.
I would hope so. People have been clamoring for you.
I
don't know why. I don't know why
No.
either, but for some reason, people really wanted to interact with you.
So, as anyone that listens knows, Jenn, along with Nick, set up that account for me. I did not pick the name. They had a really fun time putting that together. And I finally decided to get on it after about a month or more. And I've been posting a few pictures. Now, in the meantime, Nick had gone on and liked a lot of accounts for me.
Yeah, I kind of populated your following.
Yes, he
there.
seeded the cloud, as it were. And there's nothing but cigars and hot women that come up on my Instagram now.
I know what you like.
Fair enough. And most of them are hot women smoking cigars.
Again,
so, yeah,
I know what you like.
that's true. And then I have a few friends. I hadn't touched the thing, hadn't linked it to my Facebook, hadn't done anything. And people were finding me. Somehow the algorithms told them that I was on Instagram, even though I hadn't posted anything. Like, something with my phone number or email, whatever it was.
Whatever it was.
Linked the account, and it started feeding it to people that I'm friends with on Facebook.
Uh-huh.
So
you have actual friends following you on there, too.
yes, I do. Which is probably not the best idea, because that one's a little more loosey-goosey than the Facebook. I kind of keep it locked down.
Whatever. Loosey-goosey. Whatever. You've posted like a handful of pictures and just of cigars.
It's true. I haven't got any of my naked gardening pictures up yet, but they're coming.
I mean, well,
I can do a retrospective of those.
That's in May. Oh, God. Does your banker follow you on Instagram?
No, he's actually friends with me on Facebook. So,
okay.
Yeah. I got him a couple of cigars for Christmas. He was
really nice.
He was very appreciative.
I know
of that. He likes the flavored.
I know he follows the show and has made comments.
Shout out to Marty Davis.
And Marty, I would like to assure you, Jeff tells me that you made a comment to him about how he's affording all of these high-end cigars.
Well, it wasn't that.
Let me point out to you, Marty. He's not affording anything. I've been covering his ass.
No,
or we've been given cigars.
What he said was, you're smoking a lot of good cigars, which to me said you better pay your payment on time. but that's not what he was saying. That's just how I heard it. But no, he actually said that, and I pointed out that most of the cigars that are going up on the cigar pulpit are Nick's because he's too narcissistic to put my pictures up with him. But that's okay.
On the Instagram, but I meant on the show.
Well, yeah, and he listens to the show, but no, he was seeing the pictures on Facebook because it auto-populates from Instagram.
Okay. So yeah, no, those are mostly my cigars, but in terms of the cigars on the show, yeah, you really haven't bought.
I bought this one.
You bought that one for you.
I bought this one, yeah. Most of, like you said, we did get a bunch at the Kansas City Cigar Festival. Mm-hmm. We bought a bunch at the Weston Cigar Festival. We've had a lot of listeners and friends of the show hook us up with sticks. I mean,
exactly.
The cigar community is amazing.
Exactly.
And they're like, hey guys, try this. And I mean, people are just coming out of the woodwork to send us cigars, and it's very much appreciated. Because we're getting sticks that we can't find here.
It's true. And that's part of why we had to do, for 2019, we did our personal top 5, and not necessarily a top 5 of 2019, because it's like we said in the last episode, there's just some cigars that came out in 2019 that you and I just didn't have access to. Yep. and couldn't smoke, and so it was kind of unfair to be able to say, oh, this is the best cigar of 2019, when you and I really haven't had the opportunity to try everything that's out there.
True. It's a valid point.
Now, with that being said, there's a few cigars that definitely got screwed on a lot of those lists.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the American got nearly as much love as it should have.
No. Oscar
Superfly did not get nearly as much love as it should have. But I guess that's the way that goes.
Boy, I had a leaf the other day, and it was just divine.
You know, I did too. Mm-hmm. I had one.
Did I inspire you to get one of those?
You did, actually. When was that?
Did you do the Connecticut?
It was Tuesday. I did the Connecticut.
That's right.
Yeah, it was Tuesday. I did the Connecticut 60, and it was pleasant.
It's a good cigar. It's creamy. I can't say enough good stuff about it.
Well, I actually, now that you bring this up, I did have one listener. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah. So, all right. Not quite a mailbag, but it was a shout out.
There you go.
Instagram listener, Nothing Like a Good Cigar, posted a picture that he rang in the new year with amazing family, beautiful, cool South Florida weather, a gorgeous fire, and a fantastic cigar. Okay? That cigar happened to be the Superfly by Oscar.
Ah.
And he says, thanks to the Cigar Pulpit for the great interview with Oscar Valadares, which introduced me to this delicious cigar, the Superfly.
That's awesome.
I thought it was great. We turned him on to the Superfly. He tried it, and by God, he liked it. So I thanked him for that. It's a great cigar. Thanked him for that, and I told him that I thought it should have been on a lot more top 10 lists and everything for 2019, but whatever. And he pointed out that that's why he appreciates what we're doing and why he feels it's important, because we're giving cigar blenders a platform to introduce themselves and their amazing cigars to the rest of us who maybe have never heard of either. And he said that we're kicking ass. So,
giddy up.
I appreciate that.
I like that. That's a great little review.
That was a nice
That was a nice mailbag, Nick.
For all of our stupidity, people seem to like us.
I'm so lost.
Standards are low in America these days.
Apparently. No, it's funny. We before we started doing this, we would sit around and just rip on each other and talk like we do on the podcast. And finally, one day, Nick said, we ought to be mic'd up for this.
There's some things that I still think we ought to be mic'd up for, but unfortunately, I don't think anybody needs to hear that stuff.
Oh, we said some janky stuff on the phone to each other the other day. And I even said, that should have been mic'd up. And Nick's like, no, it shouldn't.
No, that was pushing it. I don't even remember what we were talking about.
I don't either, but it was horrific.
That happens to us a lot, by the way. Folks, if you understood the amount of good stuff that just gets lost to the universe.
Yeah.
Because Jeff and I are just going back and forth.
Comedic gold.
We just aren't mic'd up.
Well, that's the problem. Whenever we're together, we're always trying to somewhat one-up each other and trying to find each other's buttons.
Mm-hmm.
And I normally find Nick's a little quicker than he finds mine. I can trigger him at the drop of a hat, but every once in a while, he just rocks me back on my heels.
I have to say some really just wretched, horrible things to get you, stop for a moment.
Like the picture of the chicken you sent me the other day.
I did.
That should be shared on the Instagram.
I don't know.
No.
I don't think that will be shared on the Instagram. But yeah, that was
Nick. For a guy that isn't necessarily on the deep web or whatever, you find some rancid stuff.
It's amazing the things you see when you're just scrolling your Instagram feed.
Apparently, because
There's a couple of accounts that I can think of right off the top of my head that share some really funny but horribly offensive things.
Yeah.
And I like them.
Well, there you go. It's I am on Facebook more, and I'm hating it. I'm hating Facebook more, and the longer I do it, the more I just hate it. Mm-hmm. And it's nothing but people just at each other constantly, all the time. Pictures of that woman screaming at that goddamn cat, and the Baby Yoda.
Yeah, that cat definitely became a phenomenon of 2019.
It really did. I don't understand it. Like, I don't even know where it started.
I don't either, but it amuses me.
The Baby Yoda, though, Brooke on my staff at the paper loves the Baby Yoda memes and sends me copies of them all the time. And they are the funniest little things. Drives, like, people that don't like it hate it. There's no middle ground on Baby Yoda.
I hate it. I just don't. I haven't watched The Mandalorian, so I don't really get.
Well, none of the memes have anything to do with Mandalorian. It's just they've taken pictures of Baby Yoda and ran with them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's not Baby Yoda. I know we've discussed that before. I don't know what it is.
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
It's just, but they need name the thing. Give us a name. And then Jason Sudeikis apparently punched it in the face. I'm so lost on that too. Everybody on the internet's hating on Jason Sudeikis. I guess I need to watch the last.
Probably need to watch the last episode.
Yeah, apparently, because I'm not caught up.
You've at least watched it.
Yeah.
I haven't watched any of it yet.
It's okay. The first one was good, and it was a real nice homage to Star Wars. And then before long, it just was the same thing over and over and over. And I'm like, this is getting old.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of people are dropping Disney Plus after they got done watching it. They're just running away from it in droves.
Well, it's that whole Game of Thrones thing. They all
I did that.
Ditched HBO afterwards. Yeah.
I did the same thing.
But you know what? They'll be back as soon as the second season of Mandalorian comes out.
True. I did that with CBS All Access, and then I couldn't figure out how to unsubscribe. It was so infuriated. And my debit card was compromised. And I got a call from the bank, hey, did you purchase something in Colombia, South America? No. And so my card got compromised, and that's how I got rid of CBS All Access, because I didn't give them the new card number.
Nothing like a little South American card compromise.
Exactly. Yeah, you never want that. That's a bad thing.
Typically. Was it Oscar? Was Oscar buying a bunch of stuff from you? Did he get your credit card number when we were in Weston?
Apparently.
Damn it, Oscar.
I love Oscar.
He needed some...
He's just the greatest guy.
He needed some tobacco, and he's like, Egbert.
Yeah. I was making a donation to the cause and didn't even know it.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's funny. So what are you getting on your stick?
I'm probably done with the first third, would you say?
Yep.
And
again, folks, we're smoking the Micallef. What is it?
It's the Micallef Migdalia.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the Toro. And Jeff just ashed all over
Party
himself.
fouled myself.
He
Look
tried.
at that.
Yeah,
that sucker.
solid.
That's good construction.
Have you ever tried the ash challenge?
What's that?
It's when you get a big ash going, and then you try and hold the cigar by the ash to see if it'll hang on to.
You know what?
rest
I've
of
been
it.
seeing that on Instagram since I'm on there now, of people sitting their cigar upright on the
that's
ash.
damn near hard.
I don't know how they do it.
I don't know how
I'm
either,
impressed,
because
though.
I've tried when I've gotten some of those the perfect ash, like with that Perdomo.
Mm-hmm.
I tried doing that. The problem was it's just not. It's not level and everything else. I mean, so I don't know how.
I wonder if they're taking like a nail or something through it.
I was wondering if there's like a thumbtack or some sort
Yeah.
of thing to it, but I don't know.
Maybe it's only during the equinox, like an egg, when it stands on its end.
Right on the equator. They're going straight to the equator on the equinox to stand their cigar up.
Exactly.
My God.
Have you ever stood a broom on its end?
No.
I've done that. It doesn't have to be during any celestial
good.
event. You can actually, a broom will stand on its end. You just have to balance it right. But it looks really cool.
But no, so the new thing is this ash challenge where you basically create a big ash with your cigar and you try and hold it by the ash to see if it'll hold together.
Well, the ash came off of this Micallef, hit the table and didn't explode, and I literally picked it up. It's still
You
holding
did.
the
I was going to
ashtray.
say, it is still holding the ashtray.
There's a
so-
lot of good
So
construction
more than
on this
likely,
cigar.
had you tried it, you might have been able to pull that off.
Too late now.
It is. But no, I'm about done with the first third, and I'd still say the first third was definitely a lot of that leather and nuttiness and all that, and that little bit of pepper, and like I said, I got the chocolate on the retrohale. But now that we're getting in the second third, I don't know what we're going to see.
I am enjoying it, though. I would highly recommend this cigar. I've never had this before.
Well, there you go.
Have you had this one?
I have had this one, actually. I've heard Rob talk about it so much that I figured I might as well try it, and I have tried it, and it's good. I like it. Micallef makes good sticks. They have another one. It's their it's the Grande Bold in the Maduro. They've got that in there in the humidor as well, and that's
probably not one I'd go for, though. I'm guessing
it's a Maduro, but but they have it in other different varieties. Like there's a Sumatra and a couple other different ones.
Okay.
So something to try.
I like Sumatra once in a while.
There you go.
Yeah.
You can give that a try.
I may have to.
So, well, it is Friday, and so we have our normal Friyay Whiskay segment here with Curious Jenn. It's our first one of the new year. So
Nick tried to spike my coffee a little earlier.
I asked you if you wanted some whiskey with your coffee. I didn't try and spike it. I just asked if you wanted some.
But it sounds better for the podcast that you tried to spike my coffee.
There you go. So why don't we go ahead and get into that segment, and then we'll be back with more thoughts on the Micallef.
I look forward to seeing what
Migdalia.
Jen has to say.
There we go. Well, it's time again for our regular segment, Friyay Whiskay. First one of the year. Hi, Jen. How are you?
Hey, Nick. You look great in 2020.
Did I look like shit in 2019?
Yeah, you kind of did.
Oh, okay.
But you're wearing a nice new blue sweater.
The blue. It's always the blue. So
It's always the blue. I'm actually kind of a little bit surprised that the Cigar Pulpit hoodie is not blue.
well, black is a slimming color. So I went with black.
Dark blue's pretty slimming.
I guess I could have
The
done
black
that.
is very nice.
Indeed. So given the fact that it is the new year, before we get into the whiskey and everything, so did you make any resolutions?
I did.
Oh my, really?
I don't usually, but I did.
Okay.
And my resolution is actually a lot of times when I do things, I'm always in a hurry and I'm rushing around. And so my resolution is going to be to put more joy into what I'm doing.
Well, that's good. That's a nice resolution.
Yeah, to find a little bit more joy in my life.
I, on the other hand, intimidate people with my perfection, and so I have to rein that back a little bit and show a little bit of imperfection just to make everybody else feel good. So I'm resolving to be a little more imperfect.
Oh, wow. You're doing a great job.
Hey,
so far.
thanks. I appreciate that. So what have you got planned for us for the new year?
Well, we're going to talk about bottled in bond.
Okay.
And this topic was recommended by the Instagram account Whiskey Tater.
Ah, Whiskey Tater.
Yes.
He's crossed my radar many times, Corey over there.
We could almost call this a tater tidbit.
Oh, Tater Tidbit. Oh my.
He thought we could talk about bottled in bond.
He's the jackass who said that Gator was the star of the show.
I know.
Yeah.
Did say that.
I haven't forgotten that. Anyway.
And neither has Jeff.
Yeah, I know. Right to his head. Anyway.
Jeff made a shirt. Jeff made a shirt, star
Star of the Cigar
Pulpit.
Pulpit. He took a Sharpie to a white t-shirt, but whatever. So
He made it happen.
So bottled in
All right.
bond.
Yeah, it came about in 1897.
Okay.
So quite a long time ago. As a way to provide safe and predictable bourbon that followed these regulations. So it's kind of like the Canadian whiskey, how they have rules and regulations.
Which we talked about last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So the Bottled
okay.
Bond Act came about because then that way consumers could know what they were getting.
Okay. So the Bottled and Bond Act is kind of like a series of guidelines that kind of if a bourbon is it stamped like a certain way or
Well, it is the rules. I'll tell you the rules.
okay.
It's aged in a federally bonded warehouse for a minimum of 4 years. It's 100 proof, so that means it's always going to be 50 ABV.
Mm-hmm.
It's produced in the US with the distillery name printed on the bottle, and it has nothing but water added. So the way they used to do this is they used to put like a label over top of the cork,
Okay.
and the distiller would sign the label so that you knew that this was something that you could, trust where it came from.
Gotcha. So it's like a almost like a guarantee, a seal of approval that
That's right.
this bourbon has met these guidelines, and you know that it does so.
That's right. There's some great bottled and bonds out there.
Such as
Old Granddad has a bottled and bond. The bottled and bond I had was 1792. So I knew it had the words bottled and bond on it. So I knew right away it was 50%. I mean, the guidelines, you're not really worried about that anymore, right? Because people aren't slipping in antifreeze or God only knows what.
I mean, you hope not.
Well, you hope not. That's for cigarettes.
Uh huh.
Maybe not antifreeze, but other
No, but they do put a
there are other
lot of
things.
other horrible things in cigarettes.
So is there something similar to this with cigars?
You know, that's actually a really good question, and I'm not sure. I don't believe so, or at least there's no like seal of purity or anything like that. I think it's just one of those things that for cigars, for the most part, we tend to just there's a certain level of trust to it, and whatever. I mean, sometimes there are cigars that do have some things like you get some infusions, but by and large, you really don't see too much in the way of like other ingredients or components added to it. But yeah,
Okay,
no, not
so
really. Not that I'm aware of, anyway.
that's a huge difference between cigars and cigarettes then, I guess.
Oh yeah,
Because
definitely no. Cigars, it's by and large with cigars, you're only getting aged tobacco. And, like I said, there's the infused cigars where maybe a cigar is infused with like a flavor, or there's a lot of cigars actually where after they're made or even prior to their making, they'll take the tobacco leaves and they'll put them inside of old whiskey barrels or bourbon barrels and things like that. Like I know Perdomo has a bourbon barrel aged where they put their tobacco inside of the bourbon barrels, and so those tobacco leaves, as they're sitting in those barrels, they'll kind of soak up a lot of that flavor, and so you get kind of a bourbonish kind of taste and smell perhaps off of the cigar. But for the most part, I can't say entirely because nothing's ever absolute. But the premium cigar industry, it's pretty much just tobacco,
strictly the leaves.
strictly the leaves. With cigarettes, though, you have the paper, you have the filter, then you have the tobacco that's actually in the cigarette. That tobacco is not the same level of quality that they use for cigars. It's a different. There's a difference between cigarette tobacco and cigar tobacco. And then, yeah, from there, you're getting all kinds of crap thrown in there. You'll get all sorts of chemicals and pesticides and Lord, all sorts of garbage that is known to be harmful. So no, there's a formaldehyde. I mean, there's all kinds of problematic stuff that they put into cigarettes that do not make it to cigars. Cigars are just rolled tobacco.
That makes me wonder if there's regulations for cigars, is there?
Well, the FDA does oversee the cigar industry, and that's actually been part of the problem is that getting the government to understand that cigars and cigarettes are different products. That actually is one of the major problems that the cigar industry is facing right now because the FDA has been cracking down on tobacco. And the worst part is they're cracking down on tobacco not even necessarily because of tobacco. They're cracking down on tobacco because of all the vaping and
The
everything that's going
vaping
on.
is
And
bad.
it's really bad. And but then the thing about it though is there's no tobacco in vapes. It's all chemical. And yet because it has kind of like tangentially attached itself to the tobacco industry as a a cure for smoking or whatever. It's kind of been like lumped by the politicians in with cigars and cigarettes. And so, as the FDA has been formulating and creating all these rules as they apply towards vaping, what's ended up happening is it's kind of drawn in cigarettes and cigars as well. And the cigar industry is, I mean, they're fighting hard to try and figure out a way to get themselves exempted from a lot of these regulations because it's just not fair to lump the premium cigars in with the vaping and even the cigarettes. But and then the other problem too is you have these cheap quote unquote cigars that are sold at gas stations that are, like the backwoods and the swishers and the ones that are like two for a buck and they're basically like little cigarellos. Those are like the machine made ones and the machine.
That's the ones I used to smoke.
Yeah, and see those ones. There's a big difference between those and the premium ones because the premium ones are all hand rolled. It's a real artisan process for the premium ones that you don't have with the other stuff. And a lot of times when people think about, oh, I had a cigar, well, they think about the ones from the gas station, but it's like
Yeah.
no, there's differences there too. So
You know what? I think the big issue with the vaping companies is that, I mean, just in my opinion, I think they kind of marketed themselves a little bit towards kids
oh, totally. And
because
well, it's the same thing the cigarette companies did. Because if you look into, and now we're going down this rabbit hole again. If you
let's
look,
rabbit hole it.
if you look into a lot of the vaping companies, they have very similar ownership as cigarette companies. So, like Philip Morris, who a big cigarette company here in the states, they have I think a 35 or 40%. They have a large ownership stake in Juul. And
Jewel, that's the one I
yeah,
was looking for here because they are really seem to be marketing to young kids.
well, and so it was Philip Morris, or it's Philip Morris that has a large ownership stake in them. And so, of course, they're marketing to kids because they had to stop marketing to kids with their cigarettes. So now they're coming at them with the vapes. So
Yeah, I think actually, well, at least here, smoking has gone down so much. Like before, like when I was in high school, we all smoked. A lot of people smoked.
yeah,
And now I look in high schools and
everybody's vaping.
even junior highs, they're all vaping. And but a couple years ago, nobody was doing any of that.
Yeah. Well, and I'll tell you,
So it's kind of sad.
that's the whole thing is that the cigarette company was seeing the cigarette companies were seeing their grip on everybody slipping, and so they invested in the quote unquote cure for smoking, and turned that into an industry now too. So it's
Yeah,
it's sad,
yeah.
but and like I said, we're all getting lumped into it, and these guys can claim that they weren't targeting kids all they want, but it's like I've said before. When you come out with a juice that's fruity pebble flavored, you're not convincing me that you weren't targeting kids. But
Well, and also the little contraption looks very modern and
yeah,
like I hate to say cool, but it looks very like
yeah, it looks like some.
interesting and like
No, I get what you mean. I totally get what you mean. It looks like something that a young person might be interested in trying. And I've talked to waitresses and I've talked to a lot of waitresses that actually vape, and because they don't take their smoke breaks, so they just do the vaping thing. And they the thing about it is in a busy night, these girls will go through like maybe an entire jewel pod. Well, there's enough nicotine in that jewel pod that actually equals out to like 20 cigarettes.
That's
So it's like
crazy.
in the space of one evening, they're sitting around chain smoking 20 cigarettes, and
Whereas with the cigarettes, there's no
they're
way
not
they
going
would
to
have
do
been.
that.
Mm.
Exactly. So it's almost healthier, as much as I hate to say it, you could argue it's almost healthier perhaps to just do cigarettes because you're getting less of it than I mean, I don't know. But see, nicotine itself, I mean, in high quantities it's not good, but you know, nicotine is a natural chemical. I mean, there's nicotine in tomatoes. There's nicotine in eggplant. I
It's
mean,
just all the other stuff in
and
smoking.
that's the problem. It's
But,
all the additives and stuff they put into cigarettes, and Lord knows what they're putting into the jewels and the vapes and everything else.
and I think when you're smoking now, you're more cognizant of the harm that you're doing. Whereas if you're just doing some quick hits of,
Oh,
your jewel pod, you
well,
think
yeah,
you're
because
doing fine.
all the marketing tells you that vaping is safe. It's the safe alternative to smoking. It's the way to quit smoking. It's just water vapor.
That's right. That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's weird though that there's no regulations for cigars.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, there's rules.
I'm looking it up.
I mean, FDA obviously has some rules and regulations. I just, I don't necessarily know if there's rules about it. It's not necessarily they don't advertise, I guess, but there's no stamp or seal of approval or anything like that I'm aware of.
It is actually like the FDA, but
Well, I know the FDA regulates cigars.
I think that vaping is really.
I know. Well, and the problem is these kids are mixing their own juices and shit like that, and they're putting God knows what into it, and that's what and then you've got the THC pods where they have the vitamin E in it, and the vitamin E is in these pods as a what was the word? It's like a thickening agent for the juice or something like that. And the problem with that is that that vitamin E shit is what's killing everybody because when it goes into the lungs, it's an abrasive into the lungs, and it just rips their lungs apart. And so that's what all these people are dying from vaping and everything. It's they're doing the THC shit. So
I had no idea people were dying from vaping.
oh my god, yeah, Google that shit. We've had lots of people dying in the States from vaping.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm glad we went down this rabbit hole.
Well, there we go.
I
So
am. I'm gonna have lots of stuff to Google later on.
well, I digress. We've turned the Friyay Whiskay segment into a cigar segment, but
Into a vaping,
into a
into
cigar and
the
vaping segment.
vaping rabbit hole.
I know,
But
but
I like that because I want to learn a little bit more about cigars too.
well,
So,
there you go. So coming up, what do we have to look forward to? Do you have any ideas for next time, or are we still hitting the suggestion box there?
well, yeah, I like everybody to suggest something. I want to give a little shout out to an Instagram account.
Okay,
If they want to suggest something, I'd love to talk about it.
okay. Well, then, where can everybody find you and make suggestions there, Jen?
They can find me at Curious Jen, CURI 0USJENN.
She got it right!
Yes!
Third time was the charm there.
Oh, the first time in 2020, so I'm glad I started it off with a good foot.
There you go. And where else can they find you?
At Jen Karen, you're
Oh.
hoping I screw up with this one, so I'm not going to. It's at JENNCAIRN. Oh God, I almost did.
Well, fun. Well, yeah, everybody, make sure you send your suggestions of what we should talk about in the Friyay Whiskey segment over to Jen, and she will do the research and find that stuff out.
That's right.
Yep.
The more you know,
The more you know. Little
the
rainbow
better you
going by.
are. That's right. I was thinking maybe for 2020 we could start doing our whiskey segments by YouTube
Oh,
so people can
well.
see how stupid we actually are.
Oh, my. Oh, my. Well, I will have to look into the logistics of that, but that's not a bad idea because it would give me some content for the YouTube channel.
Yes. So
But
if people want to see that, they should.
oh God, Jan, but then people will know what we talk about that I edit out.
I know. I
That's
know.
the
I'm going to have to be a lot more
I
careful.
was gonna say there's a lot of folks. You think the amount of stupid between me and Jeff is plentiful. There's plenty of stupid that goes on between Jen and I here too.
I
So
know. Most of it's off air, though.
well, yeah, that's my point.
I
I
know.
don't record all that, but
I know. People don't get our level of
you
stupid.
start throwing that up on YouTube Live. I mean, it's gonna
But
be,
with YouTube Live, we could have people join in the conversations.
and that's true, and that would be nice. I would like a little interaction as we're doing this.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me look into the logistics of that and figure out like what all I would need to do. Man, I just got this Skype set up kind of up and going and working here.
I know, and I think people should see the joy of what I'm seeing every week.
That face, that grimace that I make when I like take my sip. It's like,
Remember I said I
oh
wanted to put
God.
more joy?
Well, there you go. You want to spread joy?
Right?
Oh, you set this up. Look
I
at
didn't
you.
actually.
Look
It just
at
comes full
you.
circle.
Okay. Well, I also did say that I was going to try and resolve to be more imperfect, and you know, I
Oh
guess
yeah,
it
there's
would.
nothing more imperfect than us live.
It's true. It's definitely true. So, well,
See how
fun.
this is coming full circle?
Yeah. It's kind of spooky
Yeah.
how that just happened. It's almost like you plotted that.
Almost.
Well, fun. Well, Jen, always a pleasure.
The pleasure's all mine.
I'll talk to you later. Cheers.
Cheers, Nick.
So that was the first Friyay Whiskay of 2020.
Nice interview.
Well, I mean,
I haven't talked to Jen in forever. I
you
miss her.
haven't been on in a while.
I haven't. Logistics,
I know.
It is what it is.
I know you keep pushing for one episode a week.
I think
but
at least through the winter, we're probably going to have to drop back to that. I know, the masses are clamoring and all.
the masses are clamoring.
I know, but just logistics and with everything going on, and with the business climate in Illinois, man, I gotta focus.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things that I think will help us a lot is a little bit of structure. Mm-hmm. And so that
Which
leads.
we're working on.
We are working on that. And so one of the things that I do want to throw out to the listeners is with Jen, we've kind of settled into a nice segment. It's a segment that we just have, recurring. And I think that we need more just regular segments like
Yes.
that. That'll help add a little bit of structure, a little bit of planning.
I think
to the show.
we need to add one with firearms. We need guns.
Okay.
We've got cigars, whiskey. We need to add guns.
Okay. I
Okay.
mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure we probably have somebody in our listening audience that is a firearm enthusiast, but that would be interesting.
I've got my buddy from Naked and Afraid. She owns a gun store. I guarantee you, Lacey will come on with us.
Well,
She'll
like I
smoke
said,
us under the table, but she'll come on with us.
Like I said, I think we just need a little bit of structure with some segments. So, folks, if you have any suggestions for things that you would like to maybe see us add to the show, maybe whatever changes and everything like that. I mean, we've been doing this now since August, and
How many casts are we in?
this is episode number 38, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like we've been on that long. I love it.
38.
Yep.
So,
Well, and part of our reason for going to 2 was to get it populated up, because when we first started and we had like 8, people were like, man, we need more.
yeah. Well, and it seems like we just always have stuff going on.
Yep.
Which is good. But on the flip side, then there's times like, admittedly, this show where you and I, prior to it, were like, what are we going to talk about? And you're like, I can tell you my bird story.
Exactly. I'm proud of that bird story. I saved that goddamn
You
bird.
did save the bird. So
Save that bird.
anyway, so I do think a little bit of structure would probably add some.
I can't believe I've never told you that story before.
I vaguely remember it, so you may have told me that story.
I think we were friends when it happened. I think it's been within that time frame.
I think so. So
I saved that bird.
you did save the bird. So I
can count on one hand the nice things I've done in my life. That's one of them.
There you go. Well, anyway, so folks, if you have any suggestions for segments and any other ideas, head on over to cigarpulpit.com. Go to the Contact Us page. There's a nice little widget there that you can enter your information, send us a comment, and it'll come right to me, and we can consider all ideas. Additionally, that's also a good place for the mailbag. So if you want to send us your thoughts, comments, suggestions, hate mail, whatever, head on over
we like
there
it all.
and send that, and we'll read it on the air.
Well, I think it'd be a good time. Since this is a rare Friday, we're not smoking a My Monthly Cigar.
Yeah, I think with the holiday kind of playing out the way it did, we did not get the January box has not arrived yet from mymonthlycigars.com. So we are actually smoking our own personal choice on this episode.
But next Friday we should be circling back.
I would think so. I mean, I guess that's up to the guys over at mymonthlycigars.com. But
Otherwise, we have a plethora of sticks we can
do have
dive into.
quite the collection
My
of
friend
cigars to jump
Garrett
into.
Collier from over in Franklin County, Illinois, actually hooked me up with some sticks the other day that I have never seen before. He's had them in his humidor, he said, for a couple of years. He was big into smoking them and then stopped and had those and wanted to bring them over for me to try out.
Well, that's nice.
So I have those for us to light up one of these days.
Well, that's nice.
Yep, that was very nice of him to do that.
Yeah.
He's my computer guy. Egyptian Technologies does a great job. If you need any help on that,
Well, there you go.
he can hook you up.
So yeah, so we do have cigars that we can hit up, but hopefully we have the My Monthly box by then. So, and speaking of mymonthlycigars.com, My Monthly Cigars is a premium cigar subscription service where you can get a box shipped straight to you every month. We like and endorse the Robusto box, which is 4 cigars for $30. That
It's
would
the Nick
also
and Gator
be
Care package.
Precisely. It's the box that we get, and then we turn around and we smoke those 4 cigars over the course of 4 episodes during that month on the show. So you can smoke along with us. So if you go over to mymonthlycigars.com, you sign up for the Robusto box, enter offer code PULPIT, PULPIT.
Wait, that's PULPIT.
IT.
Okay. Pulpit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At checkout. That'll get you either free shipping on your first subscription box, or it will get you 20% off any of the items in their store, because they do offer other stuff other than the subscription boxes.
Now, Nick, let me ask you this. Do they have any sort of MSRP guarantee?
They do indeed have an MSRP guarantee where
I was reading ahead.
where you are guaranteed that the MSRP of the sticks in the box is guaranteed to meet or exceed the price of the box. So like for the example, the December box, it was $30, but the sticks in there averaged out to, I think, about $45.
Yep, I think
worth
you're
of
right.
Value. So it's a good opportunity for you to try a variety of different cigars that maybe you haven't had, maybe ones that you've seen but haven't tried. And then once you try them, we heavily encourage you to go to your brick and mortar store and tell them that you want more of them. That way the brick and mortar retailers get a little something out of this and understand that they are buying a product for their shelf that somebody actually likes and enjoys, so that they get some sales out of it.
And guys, whether you realize it or not, these brick and mortar stores are under the gun. Mm-hmm. You know, having a cigar store in this day and age, you know, in our home state of Illinois, is nearly impossible anymore. And they need your help to survive. Stop buying sticks. You know, stop buying boxes of sticks online. Go to these guys. Maybe you pay an extra $5 or $10, but you assure you have a lounge to go smoke in.
Yeah.
You know, you may not even pay any more money for them, but you can buy them locally. And if you got the chance, if you have the opportunity to do it, please go shop at those stores.
Well, and the thing about it is that you want to make sure those places are there, because the lounges in this day and age are the last refuge for some of us. At least in Illinois, and I know a lot of states, there are smoking bans to where it limits where you can smoke. And, you know, I've found a handful of places that I can go that are cigar friendly, But for the most part, the lounge is the best place to go and get your smoke.
Well, and we alluded to this earlier, but you've got the state of Illinois now that today legalized marijuana. And there's restrictions on where you can smoke it, but they're making bank. I saw a receipt.
Yep.
And for buying flower or buds or whatever they want to call it, there's a 38% tax. In addition to the state 38%.
Wow.
And that's on I'm assuming that's on the flower or bud, just depending on what you say. Let me check. I'm going to check that receipt that I saw earlier that's floating around out there.
Yeah, there's a picture of a receipt. A guy bought, I think, $225 worth of marijuana product at one of the legal dispensaries in Illinois, and he ended up spending, I think, about $300, a little over $300 after all the taxes.
The total for his purchase was $225.75. He paid $75.85 in taxes, which brought his bill to $301. Now, let me go through these taxes for you real quick, folks. So, medical standard tax, $3.95. Local sales tax, $5.64. Local excise tax, $6.77. Now we get into the state of Illinois and them bending us over. Illinois sales tax, $14.11. Illinois recreational tax. This was on the THC under 25%, excuse me. That's $6.48. The Illinois recreational tax for infused was $5.40. Take a guess at what the tax on the THC over 35%, which I'm guessing that's going to be, maybe that's the...
yeah, because they're limiting what you can buy.
Yeah. I don't know if that's on the flower or if that's on the
extract.
The extract kind of thing. I would assume that's on the extract. So of his purchase that he had of 4 items to come up to $225, $33.50 was the over 35% for THC.
Wow.
That's insane. And I don't know if it's it's over 35% THC. I don't know what that tax actually breaks out to, but it's pretty damn high. You've got a total bill of $225 and you got $75 in taxes on top of that.
Yeah. Well, and
you know what? I'm going to just do the math on that tax real quick.
Well, and the thing about it is that from what I've been told from pretty reliable sources, the state of Illinois is in a really interesting pickle here. They have these cultivation centers, so they have the legal cultivation centers where they grow this stuff. From what I've been told, the amount of cultivation centers and the amount of product that these centers can create is nowhere near matching the demand for it. And so the estimate is that these legal dispensaries are going to be completely out of product probably within the first 2 weeks of January. So what happens at that point when somebody wants to go and get something for a relaxing weekend in February? They're not going to be able to get it legally from the dispensary, but they can legally have it. So are they just going to go find their local neighborhood corner drug dealer and buy amounts of marijuana from him?
Okay, so the total tax on that is between 34 and 35%.
And the other thing is,
that's insane.
These drug dealers are going to be smart. They're going to keep their prices down lower than what you can get it at the dispensary because they don't have to pay the taxes on all this stuff.
Nope.
So ultimately,
well, unless they get caught.
Yeah.
But nobody's looking for it anymore.
Nope.
None of the police organizations know how to handle it. I actually had a couple of different police officers on my Facebook wall today that were kind of arguing back and forth. The one saying, there's this whole fear in Illinois that they're going to use the marijuana purchases to then limit your gun purchases or your gun card in Illinois.
Yeah, because in Illinois we have what's called the FOID card. It's the firearm owner identification card. Yeah. And you have to have this card in order to go and buy firearms. And so the theory is that... The fear is that if you go and purchase the legal marijuana...
Because they're scanning your license.
That you're going to be put in a database and they're going to compare it against the FOID card people, and it's basically a backdoor gun grab.
Well, and when you go to buy a firearm, it asks you if you're using marijuana. Mm-hmm. It flat says it. And are you going to lie about that?
Because that's a federal crime.
It is. So do you lie to go purchase a firearm, or do you...
And if you say yes...
And then you've admitted to a federal crime.
And that's the thing. You've just said yes on a federal form.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, here you have the state of Illinois making bank right now.
Yeah.
33 to 35% tax. It's somewhere in that range. I just did some simple math on it. The state's going to make out like a bandit on this, but what shape is it going to leave you down the road now that there's a paper trail? And the officers I had one conservation police officer and one local police officer kind of going back and forth debating. One says, "Oh, it's fear mongering. You're wearing your tin hat," and I love my buddy that said that. But my other police officer friend came on and said, "Hey, it's not crazy. This is a very real possibility."
Yep.
So you have law enforcement that doesn't know at this point what the future holds for this.
And what this boils down to is it's politicians seeing money, and they're not thinking about the long-term ramifications of what they're doing. They just see money. It's a money grab. And ultimately, what irritates me about it is you have politicians that are promoting the sale and use of marijuana, which is still a federally illegal product.
Yep.
But yet they're hamstringing
Hell, they can't.
the sale and use of tobacco, which has been a federally legal product forever.
Exactly. Well, and the dispensaries can't even deposit the money in a bank.
Not a federally chartered one.
Exactly.
The state of Illinois, when they wrote this thing, they put in the law that basically these dispensaries have to use a state chartered bank in order to deposit this money.
There are not a lot of those floating around.
No, but I've actually heard of at least one bank that is considering dropping their national or federal charter and switching to a state bank.
Yep.
And I don't know if it's related to this or not. I mean, there's different benefits, I guess, to being a state bank versus being a national or a federal bank, and then vice versa.
Do you know this?
But
I don't know if you know this or not. And I probably.
I mean, you have a state bank in Waterloo.
We do. We have a state bank in Waterloo. There's one in Campbell Hill, Illinois. It's the only two I can think of offhand.
I mean, there might be other banks that just maybe don't have it in their name.
Now,
But yeah.
do you know that the banks, when the people that work at these dispensaries go and cash their paychecks, the bank has to turn a form into the federal government that there's essentially they could be conducting suspicious activity because it's marijuana related. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah. It's
Well,
crazy.
So even the employees are putting themselves at risk just getting a paycheck.
Exactly. Which is insane. Just legalize it. President Trump, if you're listening to me right now, just make an executive order and legalize marijuana nationwide. And just end this charade. We're wasting money on prosecutions. I mean, not in Illinois anymore because they're not going to prosecute it. Shoot, the governor just pardoned, 1,100 or 11,000 people. Did you hear that?
No.
Yeah. With marijuana, small marijuana-related crimes.
Yeah.
And, the police aren't going to mess with it anymore. In a lot of towns, it's just simply a city ordinance.
I'm of two minds on that, but I'm not going to get into the finer point arguments about that. But what I will say, going back to my greater point, is I find it just horribly ironic that, like I said, there's this big embrace of marijuana.
Money, money, money.
But yet tobacco is the devil and the demon. And it's all because of vaping. And the thing about it is there's not even tobacco in vape.
And cigarettes.
Yeah, but let's be real. Cigarettes there's been enough of a campaign against cigarettes over the years that I think by and large at this point most people understand that with cigarettes there's a health hazard to long-term use, and
Not to mention,
you kind of make that choice on your own.
Not to mention all the chemicals that they finally had to admit they were adding into them.
Which is why Philip Morris invested in Juul.
Yep.
Because they saw the writing on the wall. They saw the sales decreasing on Marlboro and all the rest of the cigarettes. And so what did they do? They invested in the cure. And then they turned around and did whatever they did with that.
Yep. We're on a soapbox. Mm-hmm. Yeah. How do they get a hold of us on the socials there, Nick?
We do tend to get on a soapbox when it comes to vape and all this and everything else.
Well, because it's poison.
Well, there's a lot going on right now. And it's happening very, very rapidly.
But they're attacking something that we enjoy and something that is very relaxing and something that cigars are almost a subculture. With the people that come and, hang out in these lounges and whatnot. And I'm sorry, it's not got I'm not a doctor. Let me say that out of the gate here. But it's not got the health ramifications that cigarettes do, or especially vape.
So now that we're on this subject,
I'm not saying it's healthy for you, but in some ways it's pretty relaxing. So.
now since we're on this subject, I want to deviate for just a split second and talk about the nationwide.
Did you say you want to be a deviant?
No, but anyway, no. I do want to deviate for a moment and talk about this
deviate.
nationwide tobacco purchasing age being raised to 21. And I'm not necessarily picking on the politicians at this point. Who I am picking on, though, is all of the cigar-related industry affiliations and whatnot that are sitting back and talking about how it was a victory because it was just a clean tobacco 21 increase. It didn't involve flavor bans, or it didn't involve this, or it didn't involve that. It was
Give it time.
It was just 21. And that's the thing. And you just hit it right on the head.
Give it time.
The politicians, they give an inch and then they take a mile.
Yep.
And eventually what's going to happen is they're going to turn around and they're going to say, hey, let's raise that age to 25. Or they're going to say, well, you know what? We already have said 21, so why don't we go ahead and do the flavor bans now? Yep. They're parsing it out.
Because they have to go back to their constituents that are pushing for this stuff and keep... They fed the troll a little bit, so now they got to keep feeding that troll.
Yeah, and one thing I'll say is you have to pick every fight.
Yep.
And you've got the PCA, formerly the IPCPR. You have the Cigar Rights of America, which is a good group, but I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in all these cigar groups that basically sat back and allowed this 21 thing to take place at the federal level. And they should have fought it more, and they should have said, no, the age of legality in this nation is 18, and you should not be raising this to 21. Because at this point, what they've done is they've allowed the politicians to have a victory. And you can't do that. You cannot do that. That's one thing the NRA, love them or hate them, that's one thing the NRA does. They don't pick their fights. They go after every fight. And when they do that...
Well, it doesn't help, but you got Wayne LaPierre with all the mansions and all the clothes he's bought. And
valid point.
There's a lot of weird going on there, too.
Again, love them or hate them, whatever. But my point, though, is if there's an anti-gun related thing, the NRA is against it. It doesn't matter. They don't pick their battles, and they don't say...
And sometimes they're wrong on that.
They are.
There are, like the whole deal with the bump stocks and all that. There's no reason that an aftermarket product should be able to affect the usefulness of a weapon like that did and be legal.
They ended up coming out basically saying they were okay with that one. So
it took a while.
I guess I can't say that they never do, but they did at least at some point come around on that one.
And I'm a gun rights guy. I mean, you know me.
Yeah.
I mean, but I'm all in.
But I just, like I said, I just feel like the cigar groups kind of laid down on this 21 thing. I think they saw writing on the wall and they went ahead and laid down on it.
You know why it got in there?
And I just don't think they should have laid down on it.
You know why it passed?
Because it was buried in a spending bill that nobody read.
No. Why did the president sign that spending bill? There's one reason. There's one reason that got signed.
Why is that?
The border wall.
Oh, is it in there?
He got his money for the border wall that he wanted. I don't know if he got it all, but he got a big chunk of it. And that was quietly done, and this was added onto it.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, and that's how things get shoved down our throat out of Washington.
And President Trump is not a smoker or a drinker.
True.
So for him, he doesn't care one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
But
which is why I wish he would just go ahead and legalize marijuana.
Ultimately,
and kill the charade.
It is a right. It was a right in this nation that when you were 18 years old, you could go out and you could buy a cigar and sit and enjoy it.
Now, should an 18-year-old go out and buy a cigar? That's up to them, but it should be up to them.
It is up to them. Or it should.
Not now.
Well, not now.
No.
Hell, now. In fact, reading through that and everything, now, if I, as a 38-year-old guy, were to give a 19-year-old guy a cigar, I mean, I could be in trouble for that now.
Yep.
So,
well, and think about what it's going to do to these local mom and pop stores, and really to the, to the convenience stores and things. There are going to be stings.
Well, and that's the other thing. You've got the FDA, or the government coming out and saying that this 21-year-old purchase age, is in effect immediately.
Yeah.
How many convenience stores know that?
They better find out quick. Because they're going to sting their ass.
Exactly. And, then...
And yet there's another government fine.
And you're talking about mom and pop tobacco stores, one comes straight to mind. Indigo Tobacco in Charleston, Illinois.
Yep.
That's a college town.
Yep.
His store is located on the town square in a college town. Well, what they've just done is they've basically just said all the freshmen through juniors no longer can come into his shop.
Yep.
And so now he's got to figure out, I mean, I don't know how many college kids he had coming into his shop to begin with.
He used to a lot, because I've gotten to know him over the years.
Yeah.
And a great shop, by the way. And if you're anywhere near Charleston, Illinois, go frequent this shop. Go.
He rolls his own.
Yeah,
and he makes
his
good
own
sticks.
cigars. He makes good sticks. When I'm there, and I'm there 2 or 3 times a year, with things going on at Eastern Illinois University that I go up and help with. And this guy needs your support, just like every other mom and pop out there.
But my point is, how many college kids come rolling through his door? I don't know.
What I started to say is, so it used to be a bigger thing with the hookah, but that's kind of died down now. That was kind of a craze for a few years, and I'm sure he did have a lot of college kids coming in and doing that. Well, it was trendy for a while.
It was, but I mean, I don't know how many he's got coming in now having a cigar. I'm sure he's got some.
Yeah, but not.
I'm
like
sure it's not a ton.
Yeah,
but now he can't have any.
Yeah, and if he does, he damn well better be carding them, because all it's going to take is one kid coming in that's
Well,
wired
that's
up.
also part of the law, is that if they're under 30, you're supposed to be carding them.
Well, thank God I look older.
I know. You look really old. You don't look
I
50.
shaved.
You don't look 50. Yeah, I will say you shaving has helped a lot.
I looked
You
about.
had
I
that
looked almost
beard,
60
and it
with
was
that
all
beard.
big and puffy and gray, and yeah, you looked
I went lazy.
really homeless there for a while.
I still do. Just
Well,
shaved.
the hair and the drug rug don't.
I found a
don't
razor
help,
laying on
but
the
yeah.
street. And
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I think it looks better with the goatee than it does with the full beard.
Yes.
You saying I look handsome there, Nick? Thank you.
No.
That's what I heard. I think that's what all the listeners heard
All right.
too.
You know what? If that's what you heard, then we can run with that.
How
I
did
guess,
How did they? I said this earlier, and we glossed right over it and got onto our soapbox. But how do they reach out to us on the socials?
So we are available on Instagram at The Cigar Pulpit, as well as Naked Gator, Nekkid.
That's my page.
Gator. And we are on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube. And now you can reach out and contact us through cigarpulpit.com.
Yes.
And make sure you sign up for our email newsletter, which will be starting in the next week or two.
You're going to get it done that quick? It's impressive.
I mean, the handful of people that have signed up are going to start up early. And
By God.
they're early adopters, and they're going to start getting some stuff rolling
The
in.
inaugural issue.
The bulletin.
Yes, the bulletin.
It'll be fun. Actually, I've got a really good idea for doing cigar reviews.
Yes.
And,
I back you on that.
Okay. Jeff actually backs me on this. He's just got to do his part, but
Yeah, that's going to be a problem.
I know.
So, as we finish up here, Nick, what are you getting on your stick?
So, the stick has changed a little bit.
The Micallef.
The Micallef Migdalia.
I keep saying Micallef. It's Micallef.
Micallef. And so I got through my second third of it, and I had kind of a little bit of almost a cedary
I'm getting
taste
that.
with
Yes,
the pepper.
Exactly.
But now that we're down to like near the end, what I'm getting is kind of a cedar with a mild pepper, but there's a little itty bitty bit of like sweetness kind of creeping back into it.
Yep, it's coming back.
Yeah.
I'm down to the nub here. We're actually, normally I'm a little ahead of you, but we're about the same point.
I would say we're about at the same point here. So
Let me do a retro hail real quick. I'm gonna last one before I put it out. Woo, that was spicy on the retro hail.
okay, so the pepper's definitely
yeah.
near the end.
Yeah.
So no, this is a solid cigar. Like I said, I've had it before. I enjoyed it before.
This is my first time, and I
And-
love it.
I can understand why Rob over at Cigar Talk loves this stick so much.
Rob, thanks for the recommendation, buddy. Well, Nick, it's been a great episode, buddy.
Well, thank
Jen,
you.
again, thank you for coming on with us. We do appreciate it.
Folks, send us your ideas for segments, and otherwise, this has been another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit.
Happy New Year.
I'm Nick. That's Gator. Happy New Year, folks, and stay smoky.